divide the people when they are cheated in the course of sharing the booties of their privileged positions.
Wow. Okay, so talking about ethnic tensions and conflict, such as what we had with the farmer-header conflict, there was a just crisis some while ago, and Biafran war. You know, how do you align this to political movement or some selfish interest by some individuals?
Can I come again with the question?
Okay. Talking about ethnic tensions and conflict.
Yes.
I brought a case in point, farmer-header conflict and just crisis and all.
Yes.
What exactly did you think caused those things?
I think issue of farmer-header crisis is a relatively recent development in this country. Probably because of the movement of headers down south. Because of possibly the lack of vegetation required in the north when they used to. When we were growing, you sparingly see people, headers moving with cows. But now it's a recurrent event, possibly because of the movement down south in search of vegetation. And in the course of that, it begins to cause crisis, not just amongst the ethnic groups, but between the headers and the farmers. Because even in the north, where you have people of the same ethnic group, they still have farmer-header crisis. People of the same ethnic group. It's just a crisis between the farmers and the headers.
Right. Let's talk about the recent events in Nigeria as it concerns the protest. How much of ethnicity is playing in this protest? Do you think there's a card being played? Because every single time when we see protests, sometimes it depends on the person who is leading. If a southerner is leading, you see a group from one part protesting. If another northerner is leading, you see a group from another part leading, and then the intensity of the protest, it's dynamic and it's different. Do you think ethnicity is playing a role in this particular protest?
Okay, let's take this particular protest. I am one of those who say that, who agree with the truism that protest is a right of individuals within Nigeria as a country. That's a way to ventilate their grievances against the government in power. But I'm equally one of those who subscribe to the fact that this present protest is a little bit premature. That this government is just about 1 year in office. It's true there is hunger in the land. A hungry man is an angry man. But when you check, you give the policies that came up, probably why people are protesting is maybe because of the removal of fuel subsidy that led to a spiral effect in the prices of things. But all the same, I equally subscribe to the fact that oil subsidy is not sustainable. It's been a conduit pipe for benefiting still the privileged people. During the regime of oil subsidy, you see round tripping. People who say they have imported oil, go back to the sea and come back and prepare money and get paid for the same thing without offloading.
But it's because of the inefficiency of the government.
This is corruption. So
it's because of the inefficiency of the government.
So that subsidy was more or less subsidizing corruption. So, but there are certain things that certain policies that the government has put in place, possibly to act as buffer against the harsh effects of that removal. So we would have allowed some of those policies to know how they pan out. So that if they no longer pan out very well, people can now say, yes, you've stayed for this long. There is hardly any government policy that you can initiate today. It begins to yield fruits today. It has to have some time to begin to yield fruits.
It's the same government. It's the same APC government. It's not like, oh, we are moved from one party to another, or another government is taking over the reins of power. It's the same government. I mean, when Buhari came, first year, second year, we kept singing, giving one more time, giving 1 year more, 1 year more. And he spent 8 years. And during that time also, there was protest, which was the NSAS protest. The South came out to protest. the North largely did not come out to protest. In fact, some parts of the North came out to even support the presidency. The presidency read the protest in the South as regime change. But right now, as it stands, I mean, this is 9 years plus of APC's government, and you are still asking the people to give you one more year or extra time for things to start taking effect. When will the common man, you know, have a breathing space? When would he be the one to enjoy at the end of the day?
Let me still say something. Agreed that it is the same APC government, but different individuals with different styles of governance. Government agreed is a continuum, but they are two different individuals. That is why the fuel subsidy regime that was prevalent during Buhari regime was removed. It shows that this government has a different perspective to handling the whole thing. I just want to tell you a few of the policies that I think that we should have allowed to know how they pan out. Because the problem we have, that is hunger. Money is no longer circulating, and the few that is circulating does not have value. This government has gone in to bring in this issue of local government autonomy. You see, if local government autonomy is allowed to operate well, and then it will begin to put money in the hands of people at the local level, unlike what you have now. People will access the local government. Now look at this issue of Students' Loan Fund. Students' Loans Fund is a way of acting as a buffer against the harshness of this removal on the parents. If a family has about 2 or 3 students in the university, and they'll get these loans, which is made up of their tuition and their allowances, it will now free some aspect of the money are supposed to be using in that tuition to do some other things.
Okay, so you know, you said APC is one body but different people. A quick question.
Yes.
Doesn't the party APC, are they not running with a particular agenda? Because it's like saying that anybody can come in and expand. There's a saying that says, show me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. So the people called APC, or the body called organization, are they not running with an agenda that only those who can queue in to that agenda should run with it?
That's why every new president comes in with his own manifesto. The manifesto are those things that the person wants to do. Buhari had his own manifesto when he came in. The present president came in with the Renewed Hope agenda, which is a manifesto.
So it might not be in alliance with what the party is.
There could be deviations.
So is the party just a platform to just become something and run with what you want?
Let me tell you the reality. Oftentimes, most of the parties in this country are not ideologically based. It's a collection of individuals. That's the reality. That's why you see people jumping from one party to the other, jumping from this party to the other. If it's ideological, like we have in developed countries, people hardly jump. How can you, look at APC? APC is now made up of mostly PDP people prior to now. That's the truth. Labour that came out the other day is made up of mostly PDP people and APC people. Labour was not in existence prior to now. So you have to assess every president, every individual on his own programs and his own manifesto. So that's the truth.
So those parties just accept anybody? I don't actually want us to move out.
That is the platform for people to access power. That's the way I look at it. The way it operates here. There are hardly ideological leanings among political parties.
So as it stands now with this protest, what do you think is playing out? The North is coming out with its intensity, even in places that have even pronounced curfew. People still come out to protest. And the South seems to be dying down in terms of the protest. Do you think ethnicity is playing in this regard? That's
what I'm trying to tell you. It still comes back to Okudeban Nole's definition of ethnic politics in his book, Ethnic Politics in Nigeria, that ethnicity is a tool by the ruling elite. So they use when they feel they are excluded. And that is what is playing out in this. So some people who feel that they're excluded may be behind pushing some young ones, ignorant ones, to go ahead and protest like what we're having.
By your submission, you're saying the northern elites, northern politicians are the one pushing these protests in the north.
No, I didn't say that.
But
I said that some people who felt that they have lost. There are still some northern people who are part of this government.
So
you cannot say that northern elites are doing it.
You know what? Thank you so much, Barrister Godwin Onwusi. We are pressed for time. And apparently we don't have it anymore. Maybe we could further discuss this much later because we need to divulge so many things and be able to unravel what it is that we're looking for. It's still Signature Morning on Signature TV. I always like to leave us on this note. Stay in love.